I'll be honest, I think that's all they've
You both tried to sneak him in.
Can they throw
That's crazy.
a
Thanks so much
spanner
for
in the
gifted,
works
you
of
two.
Fnatic? Because you are allowing them to
Isabella
start
and
on
Chamiyuki,
that
thanks so
favored
much.
side. Maybe if you deter them a little bit, you can slam them into the ground.
Right, we got
Not
Apex on
feeling
defense.
confident,
We've got Fnatic on attack.
Fnatic, and already they're off to the races.
They're on a double pistol
already.
And honestly though, if Apex can get a pistol, start getting money, get the op out here,
perhaps
they might have an okay chance.
The adaptation from Apex seems to be this quick push down through the sewers. They'll be taking a lot of control as they wrap their way around. So as this is delayed slightly in making the spikes way onto the site,
you just open BLR and saw Sliggy NA Glaze, Fred. Hey, what did I do this time?
This is the issue, not having that classic Sentinel. Means you have to have eyes on these positions. They're going full fighting. They want to try and get rid of Fluorescent, and that's exactly what Kayak will do. The rest of the players on Apex, though, have not just been sitting
Cry was the best.
They have evened things up.
Who are they arguing is best? Kankan? Hey, my excuse for Kankan was pretty valid. Do they prioritize him being an op so we see him up more, so it looks inflated?
Very much on, and Chronicle, it's Alpha in fact covering
nicely done.
bailing him
Very, very nice. Put a 3 on this.
Finish it off onto Governor. 1-0 for Fnatic, another pistol under their belt.
Again, I'm interested to see if
something,
the pistol is as
there as well.
telling on this map of both teams' approaches to the macro as it was on Lotus.
I mean, no matter what, someone's always going to be offended, so
this kind of
it is what it is.
Three-pronged retake, where they're able to take some of the CT space, they're able to take some of the heaven space, and they're able to get this flank in behind. If they keep doing that, that's exactly what we need to see out of them with this comp on defense.
And I love the idea from Fnatic as well that once they eliminate that first player on the flank, they realize maybe there's 2, probably 1 more.
Whoa.
Immediately blitzing it down. A player like Kayak, high on confidence after the last map with a phenomenal
just the 2 guns into this.
On Lotus. No surprise that he's raring for a fight.
Getting less and less every day.
It seems similar to what we've had though before. I don't mind the idea at all from Apex, like what they attempted to do. It's the mid-rounding just feels a lot better from Fnatic. Like having that quick adaptation to take that space back and go, okay, you caught us off guard, you had a nasty surprise, our post got a little bit weaker.
Upgrade to the Ghost.
But we're not going to allow you to have that. We're going to quickly react and cause you problems. And that's something I'm a little bit more wary about with Apex, more so because a lot of what Mozzie has done when taking control, it's on that breach. Like, he can literally set up players.
Yeah, it's great timing.
He's another example of
that goes in, spots nothing, 3-person stacks, going to stand strong.
Be as easy when you're playing a Viper. Sure, you can control when the wall goes up and down, but other than that, you're not really activating other players.
Unlucky that the halt went down just as those players were in the sewers. They obviously know the timings.
They've been pretty proactive, Apex, though.
So now you're not going to have the numbers from Apex, although they do seem to play that gamble perfectly, moving in towards Heaven. Now 3 players stacked up and ready to go. They saw the stars go down. They know that there's a fight
25 seconds.
On the other side of that wall, Fnatic have already given away their positions. Now for Fnatic,
they got to force through here.
Pistols coming into this round. Kayak went down early. It's Alpha and Crashies who are really packing a punch, and some risks can be taken from the rest of the squad. They want to be careful not to lose too many more players. This round could get dicey, but for now, a guaranteed plant, and they're only against pistols. Ghosts on the other side.
It feels like a much riskier version of the bonus, but Apex don't really invest much into these rounds at all. So I guess that risk has been worthwhile.
Absolutely. I mean, Alpha's
as long as they don't lose
like
2, they're kind of fine.
A dangerous hole they were getting themselves into there. Going in with only those 2 rifles into that site hit, relatively low on time, but got the job done. They've secured it quite nicely. What I'm quite interested in seeing is whether or not Apex leave Governor in this sort of ramp, close A main position, and continue to use all of that Fade utility to answer the question mark, to take information behind Chronicle's Viper wall on A main, and then allow them, based on that information, to judge whether their rotations need to be towards A or towards B.
Yeah, well, they keep the 2 guns,
and
they can just buy it slowly into this.
Other than that,
I wonder if Fnatic are gonna keep using their Viper smoke over towards middle or not.
Fnatic are able to invest some extra credits back into this round if they so desire. And we already witnessed it throughout the last map. Why, they're almost witnessing it here. They're coming in with as good, if not better, a buy, but Batu on the sniper.
Outlaw
It's a good thing as
the
well.
Outlaw buy is
considering they
interesting.
lose
It
so
can
many
kill
players.
3
Of
at
course,
the
if
moment.
some of those players had rifles instead of pistols, maybe they would have won their fights. But the risk reward of being able to just pick up those rifles when your comrades go down.
And Fnatic can do the classic of just holding back, waiting for someone to push. This is why in the team we call this the Fnatic, because they would literally just wait 15 seconds before they do anything.
Because they get that opening duel, right, they rotate players back around to B. I think that's the kind of risk we're going to see in those pistol rounds, because you want to have numbers and then be heavy on one side of the map. This time around, he's got backup, and it's Batunax sitting up top with an outlaw.
Well, I was going to say, that outlaw is worth mentioning because 3 players on the other side have light shield. So it is basically an operator versus most opponents.
Indeed. And Boaster with the full shields is on the other side, so 3 out of 4 of these players, easy pickups. You got to get sight on them first. Easy take from Fnatic. They force Batu back towards screens. Will claim control of Heaven. Rap coming back in through vents, though. Now they're in a dangerous position. Surrounded on both sides.
Oh my
and
God.
A gap in the wall gives
Oh, I thought it was going to be a double.
The spot to walk up. Almost took Crashies out as well, lighting him up heavy. The decay left him on 1 HP, 29 as it fades, but
yeah, I think it's the spike as well.
Apex working
Kayak has incredible timing.
They found themselves in their own trap.
Which is both just stays alive now.
Makes it back
yeah,
out
Kayak can get the next.
And buys the space for Kayak, but the shots don't land as we thought they would. It's Boaster to clean up, and we're back in a neck-on-neck position. But the problem is Spike up in Heaven, and 2 players still on A, where the Spike now basically has to go.
That's so funny.
The direction, 12
yeah, I'm not sure there is time for this.
Bold play.
I think he gets there with 2 seconds left.
Oh, they're not going to make it, even if they do. Evova's there ready and waiting to deny anything further. It's a round that costs Apex a little bit, but
it's a little bit melons, but they also ended up doing okay damage considering the start of it. Felt like it could have gone worse.
Even though they had this secondary pinch and had opportunities to
we helped me rank up 2 golds. To gold itself, bro, you can get into gold yourself, man. Just stop using the normal guns. Just use Judge Odin. Just lock in a controller and use Judge only, especially on defense.
The coaches clearly enjoyed what went on in that round, and
just sounds like it. Oh my goodness! Well, this is what we're talking about—the fact that he looks more comfy when he gets an opera
utility re-clearing
outlaw.
Angles and their takes onto the side. Well, that is gone for this round.
But now they're going to have to be super aggressive in this round without that.
That's the advice. Yeah, but if you're using normal guns and you can't get into gold, then your aim's not good enough, which is crazy. First of all, you should be able to just get there, but then just use the awful guns.
Kayak looking for a battle up in Heaven, but Malzy's the one to pick that up, an easy lurk as the smoke went down. And Fluorescence got a little off angle as well. The barrel was spotted.
Jesus, what's going on this round?
Player was spotted just after, and so now a 4v2 with 1 on 7 HP with a Bulldog. There is a showstopper, but if it's put into this one, that might be a bit of an overinvestment.
Awful guns him like a Vandal or a Phantom. I mean, at least use the Phantom more than the Vandal.
We'll have to see.
You can run a little bit with it. Tell me they don't lose this 2v4.
With an isolated player over on the B side, Showstopper is more so going to be used to garner space. I like the positioning of Avova, just holding on to this spot.
Avova's read this so well. In terms of that reaction, being able to hold on to this space advantage going into the post plan, in addition to the numbers advantage as well, it should be everything they need.
Alpha with a chance here.
Oof.
Oh, that was close. A few shots whizzed past their head, but Apex easily
able
to
nice
close
handle.
that, and Governor knew he was low. Going down with the shorty.
Looking at the money here, might actually get a pretty close half.
With 2-2 and an economy boost for Apex as well.
It's interesting seeing Fnatic actually losing these slower rounds. They were so good at it on Lotus attack side. They're now moving away from that traditional, more aggressive attack side on split with these comps and just losing out to these fights in the mid rounds. Now do we see a bit of a shift after this eco round? Absolutely loving it. Fair enough. That's what you want to see after you've lost a map.
Okay, another outlaw to farm him as well.
But do Fnatic,
see, if it's good enough for Malzy, it's good enough for you guys.
Towards the more direct use of their double duelists on the attack side, or do they try and keep the same pace? Who knows?
But I'll say as well, it feels like Apex are more than happy to try and just work off some of these cheesier plays, like a super aggressive start to the last round with the sniper.
Okay, fade eye out over towards A. There's a spot they want to see if they're trying to time it so they prowl it deep. Dude, is he going to start pushing the whole way? Ooh.
Because, yeah, say you
this
do want to go for a more
incredibly dumb against Nico.
Walk straight into an opponent that problem, though. Governor maybe not realizing what sort of round they're in. And well, we're back to Summon FC. This is not what I expected to see.
Kron's taking another pickup on A. There's weapons aplenty to be recovered. Blast pack through from Fluorescent, but there's a lot of numbers coming her way in the sneaky position of Alpha. Oh, shoots a little too early. Tries to take out the barrel. The player survives that engagement, but Chronicle, he has torn open this A site for Fnatic. It's a well, that's not how you plant. That's because the orb is being given over.
Yeah,
I know it's not, but it's still an orb, and Kayak just takes that. So Boaster goes back to finish the job.
You know how that's got.
What is it? What are we doing here?
No, I'll take orb, and then both.
Yeah, I had a chance to have like a pretty close game. You just lost it.
What's this? Absolute rubbish. But yeah, that's a round that I think Apex are very quickly going to want to forget. And it really does seem like a round where I'm a little bit perplexed as to what the plan was. Like, you know you're up against it. You bought a judge. A pay safe card Thrifty. That means your opponent was on a low buy. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, that was Governor just taking a fight completely on his own.
Just pushed up with a rifle, yeah, up against a low buy. It's a risky play, a bold play, Cotton.
A bold play. And it didn't end up working very well, unfortunately. Especially when you've got Batu that close to you already in A main, able to support and potentially be able to TP out.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the moment, you see these outlaws.
I mean, it's 2-3 now, but it should be 3-2. But
Mitch's favorite words.
then the problem is now if they lose this, then it actually ends up being a pretty one-sided half.
Luckily, being able to break back in relatively clean manner in previous rounds, Apex do still have economy. They have a lot of ultimates very, very close to being online. Unfortunately, the same can be said for opponents.
This is actually a really nice counter from Apex. Putting Batu on the Yoru, who's able to TP away, if he sets one up, he's run out of both it seems, to be able to answer the question mark, the potential threat that happens when Chronicle puts up that
Okay, you guys have got to use ults into this round.
Is whether or not he's moving into the space, and you can see Batu
the must-win round for defense. They got 2 really good retake ults. You could argue 3 really good retake ults.
Stay towards where they're creating pressure with their util.
That last fight from Malzy. The previous round got bookied inside that orb.
Okay, pressure with the ult over towards B and the pivot over towards A. They're waiting for reaction over towards middle. Kayak? Dude, he doesn't have a TP out of here.
He's
really committed.
And he's now being seen. Showstopper's on its way. And
Okay.
Kayak is out of the round, but this was all a fake, a ruse as they move into the A site.
Shot to cover the sounds. Gonna get over towards site as well. Do they spot him from heaven or does he get around the corner? He's in a good spot. He got 15 seconds.
So low. This could be the difference maker. I thought they'd be going. They've not gone out of heaven. The spike needs to go. It's 10 seconds. They've got the kills, but they haven't found Batu. If he can stop this plant, he can save the round, but too late to the party.
Okay. Ooh, nice shot.
Anyways, and it's Boaster to do it all.
What's going on? Okay, nicely done. Nicely done. Holy, this got really, really, really weird.
But it ends up in
Got real weird, real fast.
It's just crazy what went down. The fact that Batu manages to go unnoticed, I think the fact there is that Fnatic believe they sold more of a fake than they have. Having that player in the backside, killing one off all the way over on B, deep into the round. I think they expect, okay, maybe there's one on site.
He had a lovely shot here though, Heaven.
You can see how fast the rotations were for Apex to come across. Because Fnatic's rotation from that fake, when they left Kayak on the back of B site there, into actually getting onto the A site was so slow. I would have expected that trigger of the showstopper re-clearing Kayak on B to actually be what sends them to commit to that A hit.
Yeah, a little slow to make the decision. And Apex got ahead of the curve.
Viper over towards middle.
3-3 now. They're
You got both with ult, Chronicle ult, kind of ult to get on, well, maybe one to get on the site, maybe one to half the plant.
Locking down a whole lot of control, and most teams, they'll just be ignoring this unless you're
Dude,
committing
Malzy nearly went down.
to re-clearing all of that space.
There's a smoke in middle, okay.
To try to find some control. Up in heaven, they've already forced the TP out of Batu. So no more are they going to have that information to watch as the cross.
It's interesting, the smoke in mid, but even though they've done the Viper ult, keeps 2 here.
That is sometimes where we
just because someone could take a timing.
In re-aggression, problems for Governor has been a bit of an issue, but I like this.
Or it's going to spot 4 and it's kind of going down to Governor on the zone here.
In terms of information, it's just whether or not
oh boy, it's that damn fade ult. What was the team that kept on? Was it DRX that kept on getting wrecked by this for the Vitality fade eye?
The plant
that same one.
Pit, Apex ready to fight their way back through, but that's when the pit comes up. Chronicle playing around the edge. It's a risk, and it might not pay off here. It got dicey, but Crashies has bailed him out of a bad situation. Kayak up close, 30 HP, and he's got Avova looking the other way. Batu's the last man standing. A rifle in his hand, credits waning on his side, but even getting out of here is going to be difficult. They've gone for the push.
Hey, nicely done from Fnatic. This was a little bit weird rounds though. This smoke did so much.
It's a much closer experience
Smoke actually kind of nullified the ult, keeping 2 people middle. And like they didn't go for the ult that extends deeper down towards mid, so they didn't have much space as well. Yeah, actually has flashback, right, against what was Vitality?
Kron's obviously very happy with it.
I'm also just looking at that moment with Molzy and the judge, like just spamming and praying that he clears out Chronicle, because again, that could have very easily changed the dynamic of the round. The problem though is what they're left with. Both teams in the last were on the brink of an economy reset. Unfortunately for Apex, that puts them with Batu on
attack
a
side
hero
with double
rifle.
duelist, yeah.
Everybody else left
Not
on
much,
pistols,
but a little
and
bit.
it has to be a gamble, and immediately we've seen this super aggressive push up all the way through A. They know
doing this on the eco, I like it. Doing it against the eco,
so they can't really get there
not so
in time.
much.
Oh, Kaya could be caught throwing that flash.
It's crazy good timing on that.
Was perfect for Governor to strike.
Yeah, now they kind of know the strat that he was going for, but
so lucky. Already, you can see Fnatic will be able to get that plant in relatively free. But Apex have their sights set on the rifle that they've dropped towards the spawn. Chronicle has a little more company than he thought.
They double the guns.
Batu dropping him with the rifle, one to be picked up by
Here's a
Governor.
good plan though, so they could easily just like wrap from heaven once they lose sight.
There, Tom. The ultimate online for Governor could clear a lot of space, and in fact, if deployed now, it could catch everybody. Most of them.
Yeah, this is as good an ult as you can have in this scenario. It doesn't look like they want to risk it here, not knowing where the players are, not having heaven control, and already caught on the cross.
No way, Buster didn't win that one.
The other side, and this leaves a troublesome position.
Oh, oh god.
Anyway,
It got closer. It was a really good eco from Apex. Dude, I thought this might be a little bit dumb when Buster loses that duel there. Did they need to swing like this with the plant there? Not really, but
No, this
here
is the
we are.
kills that do. And that's so tough, because actually Apex have played that retake relatively well. They could have invested the fade out into it. They could have got themselves back into a position. But actually, as you see here, like the timing...
Just stick, yeah, it should be just... He's tucked in,
sure that
he defuses, right? But
are faster to react to the fact that there's that threat.
Better American player, bro.
I'm not looking too impressed there with how that B post plan's going. But hey, let's see what Apex have got. If I was going to make a guess here at what I think is going to happen, I need to see Apex starting to take a little bit more map control on this defense side. At the moment, they're not getting anybody on this deep line. Then in B main, they've done a little bit more aggression towards A main now, especially on that.
yeah, having over towards middle, this smoke's causing them.
But they're giving up a lot of mid control.
A bit of a nightmare.
And you can see in that last round, Fnatic were very, very ready to abuse that free space that's being given to them. With this comp on defense, Apex have got to up the aggression. Early round, mid round if it needs to be, but they've got to start re-clearing, they've got to start answering the question marks, otherwise Fnatic's mid rounding is going to make the most of this mid control.
We obviously talk about this composition in general as very good for the attack. That double duelist, that dive opportunity.
Is he still going to be doing the smoke on middle? Yeah, he
have
is.
A decent chance going into that second
So
half.
I just feel like this is causing a big issue in my opinion.
Genuinely, threes.
So then you can try and get the op set up early.
Okay.
Or you just do what Pal's saying and just get aggro on the sides.
Okay.
It's not bad. Those goalposts seem reachable. Although with a player like Crash, he's lurking around. I mean, highest clutch percentage for good reason. And Chronicle's openings, they've been reliable. That A main push-up, we've seen it before. I think last time
They
it was
really
Governor.
like...
It's
They really hate setting their Yoru's up with util.
Dealt with by Chronicle. And that early advantage, and now Pal, what you talked about, that heaven control, that information, they won't have it. A lot of stress put on these players, and there's no way out for Molzy. He is trapped in here. The orb, though, gives him a he's brave enough to fire back. Fair enough, he's done damage.
Yeah, it's the same thing with A main, though. Like, you're sending someone to fight Chronicle. send more than one. Like, this man is an army on his own. In fact, they're even dragging further players to try and deal with him. It leaves serious gaps in the defense at the moment, a sheer 2-2 split.
See here that Fnatic, what a shot from Alpha yet. Again, that's what happens if you do actually send two people towards to re-clear that space. Perhaps in that timeout, that was what was covered. We need to contest for mid a bit more. We need to contest for B main in the mid round.
One kill and she gets ult.
And we need to do it with numbers, because otherwise we're just losing the 50-50s.
And I'm not entirely against A main push, considering we had an off this time, but it's left them in a tough position. Player down already.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of util.
Oh god, utility on her. There was no
That's
way
disgusting.
out for Fluorescent, and for Apex, it seems like there's no way to influence this round. A big play from Malzy or Governor could get them back into things, but with the economy on a knife's edge, they do not want any part in this. Maybe if Malzy had found a pick there, they'd risk it.
Util was
Maybe
so
throw in
good.
the Fatal to try to pull it back, but
Big
like
TP,
said, pal,
Clone,
already
Fadai,
some
Molly,
foundations are laid.
Prowler.
There's no point in throwing away what little weaponry you still have. And the op can be retrieved by Malzy.
You keep the operator in play. You're getting close to almost all of your ults as well. Just keep them saved up. If you need to just get that extra 1-2 rounds more, let Fnatic have the space they want to play for. Don't
There's
give
an
away
Astra
those
stun as well.
50-50s.
He's on the hunt.
That was so rough.
They're the close angle with Chronicle. I'm sure he will. And well, that's not what you wanted to see.
Fantastic peek.
The run across Malzy. Do they check back towards the spawn? It seems like they might have an idea. Chronicle.
Nice shot.
Oh,
he's finally fall.
Poster.
Don't peek. Oh my goodness. I can't believe he peeked.
Well, we could have been saying something different if the shot landed the other way, but
Yeah,
it's
we'd be flaming the hell out of him.
And at least that operator will be carried forward. Still a scrappy buy if they go for one. It could just be that op trying to work. And again, we mentioned this, you know, the push-up in A main, we've seen it before. We've requested maybe that second player to go, but I don't mind the adaptation being to send the op instead, especially in the hands of someone like
two things. One, there's a supportive piece of utility to at least distract Chronicle. Two, you're not against Chronicle. Yes. Like, this is a guy who doesn't miss those shots. Like, you would have to be quicker than a guy who has more trophies than anyone else.
Some Chronicle's
well,
close.
Like you're seeing that haunt thrown up
Gonna be holding this for a little bit. Obviously, the push lost eco.
Let's send the op just to check. They're going to do it again. They're not going fully up into the angle just yet, and hopefully for Batu, that stays the same, because as you said, Tom, Chronicle's waiting for that peak to come in. In fact, his patience is running dry. Saw him start to take a step forward. Batu's the man with the big gun. If he goes down this round,
would you recommend looking at Talon, the Phantom?
Something I think is really
Someone that streams a lot that uses the Phantom,
default
like Nats.
Nats
uses Phantom loads.
We've seen the value from that, but they're also leaving Alpha to B main. Yeah. Because they know they can get away with just having this one player in B main take the space for free. But the downside of that is when they make these plays for mid early, in the middle of the round sometimes as well, they don't actually have any util to really be able to punish anyone playing in vents, playing in male.
Texture?
So
Does Texture stream a lot?
Start to abuse that by trying to commit a few more bodies.
Do they use a Prowler here? Normally holding it for the later round scenarios, and well, there you go, you know the operator's there. Methodical as always by Fnatic and Alpha. Just
distraction him towards
in those
20 seconds again though. Might be super winnable.
But you have to bear in mind that is
17 seconds, kind of got to force through this.
Really on their side,
gets around the corner, 12 seconds, distraction back of sight.
Very late, these close corners causing issues. 8 seconds.
Barry actually gets the plant as well.
With a few seconds
some of the rounds from Fnatic are so scary.
That's the pick, but Kayak's keeping the minute. Looking to capture his inner crashes with those big clutches.
No idea he crossed.
Getting ahead of the nade might not be expected.
Takes the drop down.
The wrong way.
Huge.
And Kayak.
Nicely done from Kayak.
Managing the 7th round for Fnatic. Again, we talked about Apex. They want those extra couple just to push them across the line to close the gap, but Fnatic keep on pushing into the lead.
I'm a little bit concerned the Fnatic seems to keep reverting to these much slower rounds. Where you
yeah, the rounds are getting really scary.
Take mid control and go back to pressure A heaven, make it look
maybe
like
at one point there, but I mean, Batu just missed, to be honest. He just missed the second shot.
And introducing, I think, far too much risk in my mind.
Do you know what's funny? This reminds me of like an old school CS Fnatic. It's like, there should be moments where maybe you get bitten for it, but your players are so good that you don't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, We talked about Fnatic holding ultimates in the last map, and the Showstopper was online for quite a while. It's expanded right off rip, and a read that Malzy has been in this position a lot, but as soon as he hears the ult popped, he is running for the hills or running for the deeper vent play. Now they've crept up close, though. Even in the snake bite, Alpha's looking to fight. Fnatic riled up, feeling confident, no doubt, but they've avoided that early pick. And look, you wanted 2 players pushing up A main?
We'll take 3.
You got 3. They learned.
Yeah,
The one
this is probably good from
the
them.
Chronicle is not there.
They got to try something different.
Instead, they're going for what looks like a much more direct hit towards the B side.
Lose middle, triple push A.
Potential for the gate crash into back B.
They can then
Heaven
TP
control
over
being
towards
gone
B to stack it a little bit heavier.
The only danger is that flank. If they get the
They got
timing
great
right,
ults to retake, so they
might
could.
just be a little bit too late.
Avova's playing in front, but he's just trying to get a kill and then get out of there.
Look at the ults that Apex have got here. They're obviously playing for this set retake round. Let's see what they've got with it.
Dude, there's going to be some weird timings. They've got a bolster timing, and then we've also got the Chronicle timing at middle.
Problems, Chronicle. Holding that control late. Oh, I think he's going for the flank. If he wraps around on A, he'll be way too late to the party. But if he goes back to Heaven now, a perfectly timed flank possible. Already though, Apex flooding into the site.
They got util dumped like mad.
Well, Chronicle better hurry up. It's only Kayak left, and position
Yeah,
given
it's not the best
away.
plan for him as well.
Governor with the push back, and Kayak, well, he is left locked out of the site.
Dude, anyone that's here
just
gets
util
util dumped.
To the next is, I suppose, the only option available to. Well, he goes in for a kill, fair enough. That's one way.
It's funny, that round was almost an unintentional perfect counter. Like, you had 3 players push up, looking to just get rid of Chronicle. It's the one round he's not there, so they're able to get full amounts of space in behind, and then having that late nightfall in combination with the rest of the utility, there's not anywhere for you to go, because in your mind, you still have, okay, Chronicle in the back lines holding on to Heaven, but you don't know how far those players have got. Apex using their ultimates fantastically well, and well, they're already to the 4th. 5th was the gravy.
Ult used by Kayak. This is going to be an aggressive one. Flash already popped as Batu is just forced backwards. Kayak's on him and he's gone for it! That's a bold play.
That's rude.
Dude, that's looking like the Joker
I'm not
ults.
sure that that's going to work out, even if we run it back a couple more times. Batu's hitting those shots, and Fnatic gonna trying to exploit the space towards middle. It's Boaster. We've seen this from Alpha here a couple of times, being able to find that late play up into Heaven. This time Boaster, I think, makes a bit more sense to leave him behind. Problem is, Apex have just conceded the space. They've fallen back. They know now with the advantage.
5 not bad. I mean, they got to get 5 first. Let's wait.
To commit 2 players to the back of site. We've seen Fnatic many a time slow down. Malzy being cleared, though. I don't know why it felt inevitable. I think it was just the spray through.
Boaster's
found
a gap.
Incredible timing as well. Fluorescent.
Does he realize how much he's owned
He
it?
doesn't opt to push it.
He can definitely call his team back.
Maybe also doesn't want to give the game away as his teammates.
Dude, he's so good with a Spectre.
Eventually, will do the work, and now Fluorescent knows the game is up. They're on the B side.
The only person that still uses a Spectre.
This pick could be everything. Having Heaven control could be huge, but they left Chronicle behind. Another piece exactly the same, and now Alpha pounces as well.
The
Similarly
4v5,
to Luctus, just leaving a couple every once in a while in an off angle. And for Governor, well, it would need to be a miracle.
That's a huge gap to leave.
I mean, it's still okay for Apex. They just gotta get a pistol.
They
gotta show me something.
Again, same on Lotus attack.
They gotta play as a team, though. They don't really play together well.
Well, 8-4 is where we leave it. Apex, quite a bit of ground to cover, but they'll move on to a more favorable side after the break.
Okay, who's got the snacks? Satchel out.
They're sleeping. They just... Apex just look like 5 individuals at the moment. Apex, I mean, they went for the rotate because they had the Yoru ult. They lost a lot of space and they didn't really want to gamble, re-clear it, and lose like a one-on-one. Especially as they'd lost A Heaven. Thoughts on the next game? It should be pretty close. I don't really know who's going to take it because K-Corp actually looked pretty good last week. But Kayak's on one at the moment. Thoughts on Governor? Very hit or miss at the moment. Very hit or miss.
8 rounds for Fnatic, and if they take this map
Kayak?
or the next,
You meant Kamek? Yeah, sorry, I meant Kamek for
the way to playoffs.
gentlemen.
It could be over the corpse of Apex, or presumably, as that team will then struggle
I would've said
to
Kamek,
make it
but
there. They
maybe
need the
say Kai.
stars to align to have any chance, and you never want to have playoff possibility out of your control.
I'd say as well, though, for Fnatic, playoffs is the starting block. Like, we know that first place in the group can give you so much more. I think that them coming in today and getting a victory would be the expectation, really. I think anything less, and we'd be calling questions after the display we had last week for Apex.
We go for the
yeah, sure, it's not elimination.
old school DRX,
but
and they
be
got
very, very, very close, and they would
no
rely
smoke.
on
Oh no,
others
we'd have smoke.
to turn the tide. Looking like very aggressive.
Wait, what?
What? Okay.
Ow.
Yeah, fair enough. Kayak's just been shown how it's done when you teleport into your opponent's face and find the kill anyway.
That's one way
He
to
didn't
do
have
it.
a crazy
Alright.
TP onto the
Fluorescent
site as well.
already had a much better first half. She's popped off onto Boaster and left the B side
Well,
firmly
maybe they
into
got
Apex's control.
maybe they got
Now,
a pistol here.
I'm not sure if you want to break down that opening duel, pal. The gate crash dry run, it's not something I've seen all that often.
As someone with 2 Turkish players in your team, do you want to break that?
Some things can just not be comprehended by the Turkish mind.
That's exactly it.
There's not enough talent in the rest of the region for sure. It's a tough one. That's Valorant.
Genuinely,
That's-
I
that is
reckon
valid.
you've seen Levin do that at least once a week.
Once a week? Once a day?
Once a day, okay.
And
It
again,
depends how much you scrim.
he wins them.
Yeah.
he wins them as well, which is the important bit. Because it's those sort of duels that can genuinely define rounds like this, and then the start of a half, or even if it comes later in a half, it can define how a map goes.
Oh, it's nice.
Beautiful. We talk
Get
about
that Razor early.
4K in the pistol for Fluorescent. Came out of the last half, one of the few players that was positive, and that's going to put you in a positive headspace.
This is actually something that's really, really important that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Is we call them icebreakers.
Yeah.
When you get, as a player, your first sort of multi-kill coming into these rounds, Floor getting the first here, getting the second onto Boaster, and then cleaning up, spamming the body, absolutely feeling the confidence. When you get that early in a half or early in a map, it's something that really sets you off for the rest of the game. You try and get everybody there,
Yeah, they gotta try
get them into the half.
try
as
get
soon as
3 in this
possible,
round.
and then you can build from a group from there.
Orb and a
I'd say
plant
good thing as well
is
is that
2.
currently, both duelists on Apex have looked decent. Like, Fluorescent currently the top fragger in the server, so there are definite opportunities for them here. I would say the same, though, for Fnatic. They are stacked up B-site defense, looking to push into these guns.
Oh boy,
Fluorescent
Floor
already
really
down, a
committed.
Rifle on the deck. This would be a horrific round to be lost, and 2 players have actually been caught by the seas. Potentially going to go for a little bit more here. Yeah, sure, it's only pistols, but this is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, they did really good here.
Costly for Fnatic.
They didn't get the gun back, by the way.
Yeah, Apex have left the space. They had 3 rifles
Oh
coming in.
dear God.
Chronicle
No one's
has
classic is that
picked up
clean. I'm
multi.
sorry.
Again, it was only a ghost.
Yeah, and they
he's up
managed to
against,
pick
but
up the
this
gun
guy is
and they
just
got the orb
phenomenal
out of
right
it
now.
as well.
Luckily, at least,
Now they got
we
the
see them
boom
go
bot
back
and
in
they
to
might
fill
even
this
spot
space.
both.
Problem is,
Dude,
Alfier's
Alpha
already got
killed
the
one with the
rifle.
gun
He
as
shows
well.
that to them plain as day,
And
taking
look
down
at
Governor,
Chronicle.
and this has been an absolute disaster
full
of a follow-up
eco.
for Apex. You talk about icebreakers. Well, I think that ice is just frozen back over.
When the ice age.
Credit to Milan and Scott here. That's definitely, or perhaps Boaster as well, someone within that
Very
group,
nice on this.
someone within the leadership, whoever's been responsible for that part of the prep, has done a very, very good job at setting that
Yeah,
out
early
as
stack.
the second
It
round
might
you
just
go
be,
in their game.
it might not even be prep, it might
Because
just
we've seen
be
Apex on
the
their last
easiest
2
orb that
maps,
most teams
on
go
their
and take on their
attack side
attack.
split. Absolutely love
So they
this
wanted
remake
to make sure
goal.
they could
They've
try and
set
do a
up trap,
punish, because they
they're
know
ready
they're going to
for
try
it.
and
They've
snowball the
absolutely
race to get
and
ult.
they've absolutely
I'm
cleaned.
sorry, but like a pay safe card thrifty where a guy's just walking around with a class. Like, it must be so easy to sell the Fnatic Classic because you're just the socials guy just sat home going, oh, cool. Just a pay safe card thrifty, one with 2 kills from our classic shooting 4 bullets. Just Chronicle things.
Yeah, Chronicle, he's really been a thorn in the side when
My
he's
God,
on
that
that
Tev
solo
is
control.
crazy. No spam behind it, but it hit 4.
Well, always looks a little heavier with him around. Flash
Hey, they
through
get
to
over
Hayes, they
towards the
clear it
site
out.
though.
Apex
Stinger,
realizes
Sheriff,
nobody
Sheriff.
home. Fnatic up in heaven. And they'll be spamming down from above, but having now to fight back into
Yeah,
the
they throw the
pistol
spike
could
over
play
towards floor
into
as well.
Apex's
Might get
favor,
all.
especially as your
One kill.
highlight pal with this wall that, if perfectly timed, Fnatic will have to run through. That gives the pistols a real leg up.
Absolutely. You look at Fnatic, they've not got much area of effect util. Stuff can do damage outside of that Raise Nade, which they've already used. So Apex can just sit behind and bunker behind this Viper wall.
They put the wall down as well, waiting for those toxins to charge right back up, knowing that this isn't the trigger for Fnatic just yet, and when it comes through, when they step up, here comes the wall. You gotta walk through.
Oh my goodness.
Alpha takes a different route, diving into the back, creates that space for the showstopper.
You could see it coming. You could see
They
it coming a mile off.
Favor, but it looked
Well,
unlikely
that's the game
nonetheless.
done.
Fnatic, double digits.
You can't go through it. You can't go around it. Just go over the top of it, boys.
That's so
Fair
brutal.
enough.
It comes down, like, you look at the time with just a couple of seconds left on the clock, a pick out of that showstopper could have really changed it. You understand the instinct moment to pop that ultimate, but
Okay,
when
it
you then
actually
don't
can't
win
get
the
much
rounds,
worse than what just happened.
you look back and feel a
You
little
win.
bit
You win
more
the
rough
pistol
for it.
rounds. You had
That's
4.
gonna be Fnatic
Picked up the orb as
hitting
well,
double
so
digits at the
5.
ones.
3 away from all.
10 to 5 in the
Oh my
lead.
shit, the bed. I had the razor. I was like, please.
Oh, luckily Crashies was there to save the day.
And then
Nope.
you end up getting
I think we
E-codes.
lost that over the last couple of
gone.
And then
days.
you end up using the
It's gone.
Razor next round and not getting anything
This
for
is
it.
nice from Fnatic.
Ready. Chronicle has just looked utterly clinical.
Dude, honestly,
Among
Fnatic have just looked
Fluorescent
good.
after, unfortunately, using that showstopper
It's just
in the
been a
last
team
round,
diff,
will
really.
have to just sit and watch the remainder crash. He's not going to overface. And this is the thing I always like with the Fnatic squad, is they're happy to sit that little bit more passive. Once having an advantage of over, is desperately trying to make a play into the B side. In fact, the spike is currently running all the way back through the spawn. I'm more interested in Batu.
He's got a great position.
Uh-oh.
Sneaking in through heaven, and look, they're so focused on
Ooh,
Evolve
okay.
that Batu can come swinging in from above. A 2 versus 2, a retake for Fnatic as the plant is undoubtedly coming in. The players are in sewers at the moment. And most importantly, on this retake, Kayak has an operator. Might want to trade that out, but I'm just looking at where he is. I don't think he has the opportunity. So instead, they'll move from main. And you can see that if he is the one to take that swing, he'll have a real chance to connect that opening duel.
Let the op peek fast.
TP's behind them as well. A rough idea of where these opponents could be. The operator not quite connecting, but the rifle has been found.
Oh,
Batu tagged up. A lot of additional damage.
Oh.
Chance for an individual fight, but doesn't know where the remainder is.
Big
Of
solid
Governor, who will
reposition
get
from
the
Governor.
timing spot
Instant
on.
reaction from him
A
once he
little
got the
bit
first kill.
close for comfort. But Apex will break back, and it's at the hands of that young Turkish duelist.
I'm really interested to see whether Fnatic have got quite a clear game
Still
plan
believing?
around this early aggression in mid. They know that Apex don't like playing for mid straight away in the round. They like playing for B main. They like having Molzy lurking towards A. So are we going to see them again continue to push mid a little bit more, try and find that early space, force Apex to re-clear it, or force them just to go straight off the start of the round?
This round at
Okay,
least, with
important round for
Dimensional
everyone.
Drift online,
3
they
people can't buy
can
next.
opt to be that little bit more passive, and then
From
use
each team.
it mid-round to try and find any additional
Big
information
TP
that
over
they need.
towards heaven with
Early
vision block.
Prowler's thrown out after
Prowler clears, it can
losing
still
sight
be.
due to the Viper wall. But as you mentioned,
Kinda close towards A.
Start towards either side, and then an eventual retake of mid.
we've seen this round from Fnatic a lot. The extremities covered off. Malsey with this.
Yeah, this
Instant
is nice from
fraction of
Chronicle though. Got a Prowler out of them, dropped his smoke early. Had enough smoke to be able to re-clear this. Alpha was holding on to Vent, so it wasn't a
Prowler
risk.
clears out Alpha, he'll be backing off. Decoy confirms he's not sitting around there, as does the C's. So they get a nice little embed for Batu. Be there for the late
Reaction
round.
to lose a middle.
I'm looking at the extremities. When do those rotations come into play? Someone's got to give up that space, and the steps are
Ooh.
being heard here in B main.
That was nice. That was nice with the
Apex now
smoke
know
deep
that
as well.
Fnatic have pushed
Fake
up.
smoke,
retake.
like
I
fake
think,
smoke,
yeah, they're
fake
gonna want
smoke.
to retake, either to have the
Into
fight
actual
inside
smoke
of
deep
main, or to walk
with
into
flash.
that space if it's left unattended.
Do they contact it?
So they cleared over towards B, and then now
Because that's going to determine
we
whether
have
or not
one
they
pass
give
on
the
fake. I
information
want to say
back
for a
to
flash,
Fnatic
but I'm
about
not
what
sure.
spaces of the map they're still trying to play for and use.
Well, this
Boss is going to have to do so
will
much.
be the info though.
You want to fight it?
Time to go.
Kayak,
How does he want to play it? He has a smoke to play
You
around.
don't know where he's going to be already. Will spot 2 players out on Heaven, but the execution has begun. 15 seconds Apex need to make a move. Booster's just going to be pre-fired
Nicely
through.
done.
That's the opener that they needed. Chronicle. It was a potential opportunity, but the fight's not quite going nowhere. At least they won. A quick pick. Alfia not going to clear, and because of that, that double duelist strikes
Honestly,
again. Another
the
round
big important rounds.
for Apex. A solid one at that.
Yeah, no, it's actually
Apex have been
pretty.
doing quite well when they abandon the pack. They
It's
go for
pretty
more of a
doable.
shotgun play. You see it there on the B site, scattered out in so many different positions. Even when you clear those close players, there's a second guy, a third guy.
Apex, the
ready to
calling
take
here
those
was
fights.
nice.
You look around before with splitting up and looking for clues.
Calling here was very
style
nice.
With the late play from Batu up into heaven. It's a lot going their
Like
way
once
in
they
these
took
last
over
couple
towards
rounds.
middle,
They
and then hearing the re-clear of B, like their reaction was good.
Still on the site bunkering. You've got someone there that can disrupt a little
Okay,
bit.
Batu with the outlaw. Everyone can get one shot. We got Alpha sending it. They commit the smoke, and then you prowl a deep to see if anyone's over towards
If the
here.
spike gets dropped there with 10
And then
seconds left,
Alpha gets out as well.
instead,
This
you
is
pre-fire
crazy
the guy,
though. I
easy
liked it.
plant. There's no
Creates a lot of
danger
pressure over towards middle.
whatsoever. You've already mentioned the danger in this round. Bucky FC making a return.
Yeah, I mean they used to buy like 3-4.
You create quite a big distraction towards mid with Alpha satcheling down there into sewers. Hey guys, look, this is what we're doing on our eco round. But actually, it's all to see if Boaster can get away, can be disguised.
Huh.
How does Batu have the read on that?
I think we call that wall hacks.
He's really on top of it.
He's just seen Boaster last round, sitting behind the box, waiting on the site, knows they're on a low buy, knows they got the Bucky before. Whether he was just suspicious or...
Here we go. How many is he good for?
Story. They get pigeonholed into the big site. This could be very bad. Sees, it's gone a little deep. But luckily,
so
he's missing the
good.
shots. The block and the decoy
The clone,
saving the
man.
day. Pistols flooding back
Hold up.
through. Don't give
Oh,
Chronicle
dude,
the
imagine got one on
opportunities.
site
We
there.
know he'll connect them, and another one found.
5
With
HP,
Fluorescent
by the way, with
5
that
HP,
Bucky
getting
shot at the
very
beginning.
Close to that snake bite, too close for comfort. But it's only crashes. I said this man, and I think he might have buffed his stats a little, the highest clutch percentage in the league here in stage 1. This one would be a little bit more than I think anyone could expect. A sheriff against 3.
He's having a quieter performance as well on this map, so it would have to be somewhat absurd.
Great eco. Oh, they had a chance to win it.
Believer in it. But even just going down at this stage to a player rather than the spike will actually gift his ultimate over, so although you might not want to give it over to the other side instead, I really wouldn't mind it in this case.
Forward and look for the pick, even just to add that extra cost to the economy, but Fluorescent 5 HP is good
Fnatic
to
timeout
convert.
maybe? It's getting a little bit
Another round
close.
on the board for Apex. The slow climb back is very much in full swing at this point, and Fnatic's calling
Poor
timeout.
Boaster.
Exactly. And I think that was the point that I was going to make is I think this is something
my
that
Bucky
Fnatic
is not killing, bro.
pretty far away from it, mate.
That was the 5
This
HP
is
on
something I
site,
would
right?
expect to see coming out of Fnatic now. Because Apex, to draw a quick comparison between the two attack styles, are playing a lot more direct. They know they've got that double duelist. They know how fast they can be at getting through these choke points with the satchels, with the Yoru TPs. And Fnatic at the moment is still just trying to get to grips, given that they played a much slower attack style that relied on those
This is an
inserts,
easy
finding
round.
those 50-50 duels like they had on Lotus.
Kinda.
They're just struggling to get to grips with how
gotta be ready
they
for
need
this
to
combo.
deal with that defensively.
It's been a bit more of a struggle to really grasp what Apex have been doing, because again, they've not really been giving anything away. Any mid-round stuff they do can very quickly turn back to one of the sides because they've not been giving up any of that space.
What do you think about the
And
B
for
main
Fnatic,
smoke
this is
on the
now
box
an
becoming hard
opportunity
meta?
for the
I mean, it was
coaching
always going to
staff,
happen when you got rid of Omen
stolen
one-ways.
coaching staff, to have some words.
Still not forgiven for that. But
Not
that's
many
actually
one-ways
the
left
point
in
you're making there of being able to disguise what you're doing
the
in
game.
the mid-round is the value of having this Astra and the Viper, two controllers in your composition.
How often do I play
on
TFT?
the
I play
attack
TFT a
side.
lot
When
at
you
the
put
moment.
the Viper wall up, when you put the orb up, when you open one of these smokes, you deny vision for the defense. They're forced to do something to get information back again. If they don't,
Them out.
you can start running them around the
Dude,
map.
yeah, we were real late in this one.
Good thing for
Going on
Fnatic. Ultimates.
I have the spike.
Viper's pick can definitely make that a little bit more difficult, especially if there's contact around mid-control. However, though, one aspect that goes alongside those smokes is also Batu taking space. He can very
Is that why
easily
you always
reposition
disappear
to
in
the other
between the
side of
maps?
but
You
when
think,
get
you think I
this
can get a
far,
5-minute
I
TFT
feel
game
like
done?
you don't want to. You want to hold on to heaven control if you can.
Try and play a bit of bait and switch with Molesy as well, perhaps.
Curious to see how this one goes down. A lot of ultis for Fnatic. Their first timeout called in this series, the first time that they feel pressure, and we saw them overconfident in some of those rounds on Lotus. They gave away back in that, albeit, came to a quick conclusion.
Okay.
But
Real
now,
slow on this
you
one
imagine
from
they come
Apex.
into
They have
this
taken over
more
towards
locked in than ever.
A Heaven.
Absolutely, you've got to be at this point for sure.
Looking
Gotta have
like
some sort of answer for how aggressive Apex
Fnatic are okay to retake over towards A.
Every piece of utility has been dodged, avoided already. And Nightfall's going to clear out the site. The problem is there was no one there. Fnatic far more passive in this scenario. They've seen
A nice round. And the timing's pretty good at this luck. We just saw Kayak take the TP. So Vova can get an Astra Star down.
If Vova can get there in time, this could ruin everything.
Shift walking just in time, popping down some stars, trying to buy that little bit of extra time. Chronicle onto Fluorescent, though. That must have been through the smoke.
Okay, let's see what Vova can do.
We saw it indeed. And a
Oh, that was nice. Saw the
Alpha
trail from the
makes his
Beidou.
presence known, but it's only for one. Still,
Okay,
Fnatic
tap,
on
Astra
their way
Suck.
to the site, grabbing themselves a half diffuser,
Astra Suck
trying
looks
to.
good.
The grab well comes into play. Avova buying more time as Heaven has now seized the sprays in the smoke are good. And it's only one Boaster on the
No way! Boaster!
across the line.
Boaster, man, in the
Arrows, a
1v3
Red Bull
manages to
clutch, and it's
steal.
Avova arriving
Steal
a
the
second
defuse.
too late for a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, they did pretty
Heartbreaking. That
good
was
getting
so well played from the point of
getting
getting
insta
into
half after
position,
the
late
Astra
lurk.
Suck and
I think
then
even the players on site did
instantly back on
incredibly
it
well
as soon as the
considering you're already playing with a
the
disadvantage.
diffuser
I
got
think this
killed.
immediate pick out
Astra
and they
smoke
used the
was everything.
showstopper. This was looking like, okay, you managed to turn what seemed impossible, and then just moments later, it's just a nasty little diffuse.
I actually really want to talk about that man on the camera right there. Because it's a detail that I think most people will miss.
That was
him just ducking back down
that
into
was
vents,
giant,
buying
man.
a bit more time
That smoke
before
was
he gets
everything.
cleared, before he gets
Keep an
killed,
eye on the money,
means
because
that
if
Heaven
Apex can
players
win
can't
this,
do anything about that site retake that's coming
like
in.
it should be
nicely
really
done from him.
close.
Cerebral player at the worst of times, to be honest, and at the
You
best.
still consider Vitality to
Just
be
convert
EMEA's number
that
one?
win for you
Nah, I
with the
don't think so
Vikers
after
down
yesterday.
on mid.
But now I
He is
don't even
solo
know.
holding this entire portion of the map and putting
Now
a
it's
real
like really
spanner into
close.
the works for Apex.
I think as well he
It's
held it
cool, though.
until the dimensional drift was used in the previous round. Like Chronicle has had that Viper's Pit for a couple of rounds.
Now
But
we've got
just
like 3
realizing,
teams.
Okay, well if they have a perfect counter to me, throwing this in has no value.
Heretics.
Now that it's gone,
Yeah,
now try and run
it
through
looked
my
good.
Don't wait until Floor gets up that showstopper either.
Yeah,
Otherwise-
that's true,
otherwise
that's
you've got,
true.
off
The
the back
playoffs
of
should be
Governor's
really fun
Brothers
for
as well,
EMEA.
You've got another immediate counter to it. So nicely timed from them for sure.
Oh, it is a stalemate inside of B main. Both players sitting just meters from each other as Governor rounds the corner, though he's the one to win the
Hold
fight.
up,
With
hold
Avova
up.
winning the battle of the Astras, the B site seems open for business. They certainly think it is, but Kayak's rotated
Shots.
in early.
Dude, the Viper
Double
molly
pick
was
up puts us
incredible
back
as
into
well.
Square footing. That push onto site delayed, and the reposition from Kayak, the high-low, it's not worked
Kayak
out.
actually got out of
And
there?
it's Chronicle to fall with spattle scars on
Oh my goodness.
Kayak. He's lucky to still be alive. Pressure on for Alphayer with the plant now secured.
Eden will do a little bit of chip damage. That showstopper you mentioned is now online in the post, but I don't think they're going to need it. Althea low enough.
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say,
holding
kinda
onto the
needs to
gun is
save
gonna
it with
be
the
so
money.
Desperately important, and the
Ball
fact
has
is,
ult.
like, Fnatic, their
Could get
risk
really
was,
close.
okay, we have some weaker weaponry. Bear in mind, they won a round but had nobody surviving into the late stages, so they had an SMG, they had a piece of the puzzle missing. It's just that hard clear. Like, you kind of expect if you're Fnatic. Okay,
EMEA is the strongest
on the
region
other
right
side,
now.
something's
Heretics,
gonna push me off
Vitality,
the angle.
Fnatic, and
No,
Liquid.
Apex are
Yeah,
very
but
happy to go
I
for
get what
those
you're
contact
saying.
fights, feeling very
But can those
confident
teams
individually.
beat like
Not here.
the G2
It's
T1
not.
EDG teams?
One point I also want to add.
That's
and
the
other than the
that's the
initial game
thing.
they had
Sure,
back in
it's like
kickoff
competitive.
versus Gentlemates.
but
Even though they've not won a series, Apex have
I don't know,
always
man.
taken a map. That
Have we
includes
consistently
matches
seen them
versus
play
Team
to like the
Liquid,
levels
Team
of those
Heretics,
three?
and Na'Vi. Those are all, well,
EDG? I mean,
mostly
EDG is like
very
a
difficult to take
EDG is a
maps
random
off
one.
against Na'Vi.
Because sometimes they can be
I'm
incredible.
starting to think it's possible.
If there was ever a time against Fnatic, come back, when Fnatic are on defense on split, it's been done before.
Oh, that's never happened before. What team has managed to do that? BBL coach.
Let's see if they can do the same.
This round is not looking all too strong for Fnatic. The rifle saved by Alfier is the only
But I agree with
thing
you,
to
it's very
boast about.
competitive at the
Kayak's
moment.
able to scrounge
And I think
together
it's hard to
credits
actually gauge where
for
they are
Sheriff.
in the
For the
world.
most part, this should be a
What do you mean?
conceded 10.
Okay,
Chronicle's
Alpha's
got
the hero
classic,
gun
that's his best
saved,
weapon.
and
My
they
bad.
go for an
My
aggro
bad,
push over
actually, yeah.
towards middle.
Let's flip the
With
script.
the
Fnatic
Yoru bait.
coming in with the massive advantage now that the little weapons in the hands of Chronicle. And actually, Fnatic, as you're highlighting there, I believe that was you, Pal, with a little circle. They've gone for the mid push. Timing. Oh, it looked like it was perfect.
I like the idea.
Fluorescent is there.
It felt like the timing of Governor's Prowler was
The sliver of
unbelievable.
health left on Chronicle, and the danger of this round
They
already put to
feel
bed.
more like Crew
Something actually I
C9,
want to see Fnatic do a little bit more.
Sentinels
Spoke
kind
about
of
it earlier in
vibes.
the half. But if they're able
MIBR?
to
Yeah, I
show
think I agree with
at
that
least
as
they've got
well.
this mid control early,
I don't
Apex
know, we
starting
need
their
more
default,
time,
especially towards B main still.
basically.
Starting quite focused on the
Leo,
extremities
thanks
of
so much
map.
for the tier 1. Appreciate the 14
They are
months.
either forced to commit to just going straight from that space, in which case Fnatic, right, with 3 in the middle of the map, with 1 already on the site they've gone towards, we can just retake and flood
Toronto
really
should be really
quickly.
hype.
Or Apex are forced
Should be
to
really,
slow
really good.
down, move away from the attacking style that's been working so well for them so far, and re-clear mid to avoid giving Fnatic a really, really easy late round.
Do I believe now?
This is gonna
Should be
anything but
believe him.
An easy late round. With 11 to 10, the likely
some
score
reason
on the
I'm not.
board. You can see that Boasters on the A site just saving the weapon, the rifle they've recovered, while
Like, all they
Chronicle
have to do is
crashes.
win one more buy round.
They'll be playing the exits and going down to the spike if needs be. For Apex, what a recovery of a game, a series indeed that felt like it was not even slipping out of their grasps. It felt like it was never in their hands. And now, well, they've seized the reins of fate.
I think that
They're
EMEA have the
steering
strongest
themselves towards
icebox
a
so
map
far in
3
any
ascent,
region.
where we could end up very
Yeah, but
soon. Up goes Batu.
Like the worst
There's
map
one.
to be good at, man. Someone could just
Nicely done.
spam
At
A
least
hit you
grabbing
and
an
you just
orb on his
lose.
way out.
It's not the most consistent map ever.
Four kills on pistol, spamming Boaster's body, and actually Fnatic bring out their second timeout of
I would
the series
rather
and of the
I would
half.
rather be good at any
Yeah,
other
but
map,
looking at
to be honest
top
with you.
players in the server, and this is why when you think back to Pearl over at kickoff, we were so excited because you had Batu on the agent where he is best. Don't get me wrong, you'll see him on the Sentinel, he's learning new roles, he's picking up new positions, and he's had some decent performances, but when
Okay,
you put
money
him on
is
this Yoru,
money is
he's one of the
really
most
really
terrifying
low.
players to play against, because just sheer confidence. Like,
This
you
is
can come to
a
his cam at any
very
point,
important
guys
round,
smiling,
so we
having
get the
fun,
timeout.
enjoying himself, and
Razor-
the other duelist is Fluorescent.
Wait, they're
I
up
don't need
against
to
3
say
ults.
anything more. So with both of these players, 22
Yeah,
and 20,
you should for
on
sure
that
be
kill
believing.
feed, the closest, well, equaling Batu is Chronicle, who's been having a pretty solid game, to be fair. But this is now looking like a turn tide, with both of them performing showstopper in their hands. On the other side of things, a lot of it looks like it would be more retake-friendly ultimates, or looking for utility on Kayak, who has started to wake up over the last couple of rounds. I do feel, though, that unless there is that momentum breaker or something that the coaching staff can bring in, I think Apex have got this.
I think a lot of that timeout has to be really focused on how these ults match up against one another. For Fnatic, you're a long way away from anything other than your dimensional drift and
You said they
your
got
astral
incredible
as well.
ults,
Whereas
good
for
ults for
Apex,
after plant,
you've
good
kind of
ults to
got
get
quite an
into the
easy way
site.
into a site and to hold it in the post plant. Raise ult, Astral to take the site, Viper ult in post plant.
Good.
That gets you up to that 11th. Let's see
I'm
how
going
they
the
match up
retake
against
as well
each
if they
other.
want
What are
it.
the plans? What are people going for now they've had time to discuss
Okay,
it?
this is nice for Apex. Prowler goes in, early B main control. At the
certainly
same
on Fnatic.
time, force
Hello.
over towards
2
middle with the
timeouts used in
TP. Or
quick
we're going real
succession.
fast on this one.
A split
Kayak might have to
seems
TP away
slip
from
out
this
of their
ult.
grasp. A shot
Okay, and now
on
Boaster
the
is on an island.
It's enough though.
Oh my
Should
goodness.
be enough.
Nice,
think.
say that.
Boaster's still here. He's picked
How's
up
he-
Fluorescent, waiting
how's he
for him
alive?
to come out of the smoke, but the Bulldog
He did
doesn't
good.
have that
He
much
did
of a
good
bite
to get
this
one.
time.
It's a big win for Apex though,
Looks
because
just
Boaster had
being
ult.
spotted. They know where Avova is, and it seemed like Kayak wanted to take him down.
I'm not sure about the Viper ult before they
Escaped.
planted though. It gives
Dares them all, taking their
Fnatic
time.
so much space.
Expecting some counter utility.
Okay, this
Paint
gives them a
Shell's
lot of
already
space
used,
as
Snake
well.
Bite already used, so
Now
any
do
form of
they-
denial has already gone. Avova is going to get back around into the pit, now flashing through, waiting on the other side. It's a running shot that takes out Kayak.
Blinded
Mentioned
too.
this point, making it through any of that utility is impossible at this stage. Trying to find any sort of hole in this post plant. And you mentioned it in the moment that the spike wasn't down, but I actually really like that from Apex. It's basically not
No,
allowing
yeah, it
what
worked out
utility
pretty
was
well.
there from
When it
Fnatic
all
to
came down, I was
risk
worried.
disrupting
The
anything they were
Viper,
doing. They
sorry,
just
the Astra
hold,
ult.
wait,
Definitely
Stay
makes it a
calm.
little bit better
In
because
the
you've
end, it's
already
enough.
lost the space. You're giving them space, so you might as well
if you're getting
cut
that
it off.
Viper's pit down before the plant comes in, you're basically giving Fnatic.
I was super worried though. I gave him like a path out here.
Yellow line to just say, right, hey, you can have this for free. We can't see you, and you can spam through our Viper's pit in order to be able to deny this.
They had a divide down as well, though, right?
So that's when the Cosmic Divide came in, and that was the thing that kind of saved that round for them, in my opinion. Having to stack up those 3 ults in one go got them through in the end.
Well, actually, the late rotation as well coming through Heaven. If Fnatic had that space 2 or 3 seconds earlier, exactly like you said, a Snakebite went in, landed on the Viper, 1 spam going through that pit, 1 little spray down, and we're done and dusted. This round is reset, and the favor is probably for Fnatic with all those players in the open. But again, that Cosmic Divide comes in just after that. The window is closed, and at that point, the round's basically done. The only thing left to do is for Kayak to try that
Spectre
flash
again.
take that free space on the back.
Why do I feel like every time he's got a Spectre, they've won the round?
He gets headshots, so not a lot you can do about that. That gets Apex 2-11. Like you said, a lot of ults used up by that
One
attack
away
side,
from
but
Fatal.
now we're neck and neck.
And as you can see, it looks like they want to try to get this orb last time. We saw a bit of a heavy punish over towards
They
it.
used the dimensional drift in the last to try and clear out that backline. Maybe in a retake that
Well, they
would be useful, but
gotta make a decision and try and take some space.
Pieces missing here for Fnatic, and the momentum firmly in the hands of Apex. Try and fight for control of middle. There's 2 players here. Chronicle is the one man I wouldn't want to face.
Oh my. Yeah, just sees him spamming the bottom. Takes the aggro angle.
Now Alpha, whoa, he's spotted the cross, but hasn't.
Oh, this gets odd. Because the 2 just left middle.
Sneak up. They've got deep B main control, but the TP comes out and they're starting to fade away. They think that player inside the vent is signaling an A push.
Dude, we might be going to Ascent.
Control is left wide open, looking to just compete for middle. Whoa, that's a little risky. The jump peek from
Especially
Batu, but he
the
gets
solo
out
duel on
unscathed.
A just got one.
Falling.
Dude, Moles is
Everything
mad
has
to
come
take that
crashing
so
down
early,
for
but
Fnatic. The lead that was theirs for oh so long, and it seemed set to close this out 2-0 to lock in qualification to playoffs. But that may be a bumpier road than anticipated.
Apex giving Fnatic a taste of their own medicine. That same slow, multi-phase kind of attack playstyle where they're leaving agents, Batu on the Yoru in vents where he's able to escape with a TP if he needs to.
The Spectre is underrated? Not really.
On Alpha. And then off the
I think the Sting is just too good to
when Fnatic
warrant
are already
it,
on the
really.
back foot in the round, applying the fake pressure to be Heaven, Molzy takes his timing when the site player is distracted, finds that second 50-50, and that's the round pretty much done and dusted from there. Really nicely done from Apex.
I want to ask you this, because I think that obviously as casters, you're going to keep an eye on the tier 2. You're going to keep an eye on the players coming up. I can hold my hands up and say when it comes to Batu, I was almost completely clueless. When he came into the league, it's like someone stepping in.
Yeah, with the death he got all, right?
Basically managed to get promoted, losing some of those spots. Now seeing him go up against Fnatic, walk up mid and get 2 opening kills, was he on your radar?
No, I don't think he was really on anyone's. I don't know too much about exactly how he was scouted or whatever, but he was having quite good performances in ranked, and I think that's kind of how they put him up. But finding, though, maybe that's just the intuition. That's the ranked intuition. I know there's going to be somebody in that smoke. I'm going to send half a magazine in there. Well, it pays off.
You mentioned that they're getting a taste, Fnatic getting a taste of their own medicine from the playstyle, but also from that exact spam. Chronicle's done that on this map a bunch of
something
times.
a little bit different
smokes and taking
from
players
Fnatic.
down. So now he gets to be on the
One chance
receiving
for
end of it. Push up
Apex.
from
Oh
Alpha
my
yet,
goodness.
and he's going deep for the
Oh,
fight.
he messed
Chasing
up
them
his double
away from the A
satchel.
site, and the
Instant
response,
reaction is
an
to send it over
immediate
towards
ult used
site.
to clear out
Boaster.
B. Fade sent in, and oh, it doesn't quite catch Boaster.
That does
Still very much
Oh god.
for this player to come.
Dude, with the spam going on as well, but they didn't hold on to the map control. They actually didn't take the space, and we got to keep an eye on Alpha, who's carried on pushing. He's about to duel someone in spawn. What a shot that is.
They thought, oh, you know, he's pushed up, he's taken control, but he'll go back. No, he's actually sitting in the spawn, just chilling, just waiting for them to try and respond. Chronicle with another one.
Very nice shots on this one.
Apex got all the way to the final hurdle and tripped.
Dude, how did they block so much? Was it Chronicle again with the good util? Chronicle is like some of the best Viper mollies we've seen.
What a push from Alpha.
One sent it in, no one else did.
Massive recovery
had to have been.
Going 12 to 12, it seemed like all of the win was in Apex's sails. They start to play Fnatic's game potentially better. They start to win those spams through. We see all the confidence sky high, but that round just reignited the flames under Fnatic.
Absolutely, and you can see that from Chronicle's reaction there. He knows how important that is, and it's really nice to see in a team perspective that you have these kind of
he went crazy for it.
That are absolutely there in the toughest moments.
Okay, the only crazy thing, really, not that crazy, is off on your own defense.
And to re-motivate them going into this attack side now.
Well, that also just seemed like more of an alpha round. Like, I'm just going to disrespect. I'm going to go aggressive in towards A-man.
Okay, I like this a little better from Apex. They're actually like using util to set the Euro up. The amount of rounds I saw on Lotus and honestly on Split where they didn't do this is... It was way too many.
Still lands. Bear in mind, no shields available for Batu in this scenario, so he's got to try and win a fight.
Chronicle consider them buying an op into this round.
Normally it was him pushing into Chronicle though. Now he is sitting and waiting. Again, we saw this passive adaptation towards the end of Apex's defensive side, and it served them a lot better. Still containing that control, but not having as much of a risk, and the only thing that comes from this is eventually a Prowler comes your way, if they're coming. And if not, you have information for the whole round, stacked a little heavier towards the B side where Spike is outside of, but Fnatic have got mid-control. They've already crossed into Ben's.
Committed over towards the B. 3-person hold.
Here, the world is their
3-person hold, we've got nades. We got, dude, pretty much full util for Governor. Didn't have one Prowler.
Keep it strong under the pressure.
Okay, there goes the Prowler at 30 seconds. Spots one in middle.
Still doesn't tell where they're going to go back to, but you can see the immediate response from Mosey is going to try and get that little bit of hold in case they try and move back, and with a stack up on this side, it could be huge, but never mind. Kayak with an immediate opener of over on the site needs to try and hold his ground. The timing looks good, but it's only Fluorescent to find anything. And while with seconds left, an attempt, a risky attempt to try and deny the spike.
It just kind of looks like, it looks exactly like the first half, right, where they don't really play together on their defense at all.
That had to be a godlike moment, and now 13 to 12. They took a while getting here.
It was a little better at the beginning because they set the
qualification point
the op up
as well.
This was really nicely timed out of B main here, I've got to say, from Alpha and Crashes. They wait just long enough for their Heaven players to come out, to create the distraction, to force the site players to be focused on them, and that's when they take their timing, to come out of that smoke, to look for their own fights.
It's the highest pressure sort of pause you can have. You had the incredible comeback, you get all the way to, you're actually in the lead, a chance to close out the map. Then you lose a couple in a row. Now, obviously,
prediction for the next game? I can't remember. Who did I go for? Gentlemates, maybe? I don't feel comfy about the next game, though. Because I don't know where to rate Keiko.
No, absolutely not. They know they have stuff that works. It's already been working for so much of the attack half. But now this is where the mental aspect of competition comes in. How much can you rely on your bits of structure that you've got? This
chances we see Harbor very high.
Your ways of doing things, ways of doing your timeouts. What do you have that as like a kind of safety net in terms of that keeps the composure of the team? Do you have an understanding of exactly stylistically how you want to play certain rounds, step by step things you want to achieve? Do you have super well drilled executes if that's something you want to rely on in this sort of situation? Bring it back down to the things that you know really well, that you practice day in, day out. That should be enough to get you across the line under pressure.
The scary thing for me, though, is that a lot of the rounds they were winning on the attack were down to a lot of flair. Like Batu being a hero in some of these rounds.
A lot of it felt down that it was like ults as well, in my opinion.
The flair disappears.
Yeah, a candle in the wind. It's dangerous. They mess with a winning formula, but at this stage,
okay, so they did boom bot.
Fnatic seem to have
the clear over towards B main. Bit of fake pressure over towards middle. And then insta group over towards A.
Guys, we're going to do a bit of pressure.
Okay, we're going to do a bit of pressure. Still has his TP here at the moment.
Aggressive, and then we're going to go A with our double jewelers.
And take a look at where the gate crash is. Actually, it's just faded away. That timing perfect. Now Kayak under pressure. He gets a second gate crash out. Has a way to fall back, but takes the fight instead. At least landing one before falling. They might think that he was solo on this side. They're certainly not aware of Chronicle. They're not looking, and that's a big mistake.
I was going to say, I imagine they didn't get that second kill.
an underwhelming performance considering it is Chronicle up there given the opportunity.
There's a second layer to it though. Such a quick response from Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha's here
he just
really
wants to hold
fast.
onto the ground, try and get some information. In fact, that's Fluorescent forced back into
Might
an
have to
angle
nade
that
elbow
is
before he
basically a
pinks
1
this.
versus 1 unless Molesey swings, which Molesey cannot swing. They're holding him in position, at least for now. Fluorescent, though, repositions are so important, but it leaves them all caught to the back of the site. A chance for Fnatic to just garner all of this extra space without too much resistance. That time, however, is ticking lower and lower. Just holding on to this late ground. They need to get towards the spike as quickly as humanly possible. Alfie is there, and well, I think the time is already gone. Just rushing around will be. Mosey needs to get onto this spike.
Dude, imagine it connected though.
In overtime, Apex.
Imagine it somehow hit.
Oh, there was a moment where Apex looked like a ship without a rudder, but the leader here comes out. Manages to put them right back on course to take this map 13-13. Malsey with a 4-piece, and Apex with another shot at the Kings.
That reposition that you spoke about, Tom, that allows Fluorescent and Malsey to be grouped up there, like towering, we call it, up and under, high, low, both holding exactly the same angle in elbow. That, I think, wins them the rounds. It reduces the risk of taking those 50-50s against players like Alf there, gets them on the same page, doing the same thing together.
I think is what Fnatic did with the Prowler to force her there in the first place. Just weren't quite able to capitalize. Batu, well, we've been here before. The interesting thing, though, is where Kayak sits. I think just trying to deny the space that Batu has had for free in the majority of rounds, and almost tried to sell the idea Chronicle is in this position.
Oh, he saw his gun barrel.
I don't know if
Kayak knows he's there.
Idea. And on the other side of the map, an aggressive push into B main hasn't worked out. It's a response, it's a counter, and that's now a 2-player advantage for Fnatic.
Yeah, this is it. The more data that you give them, the more chance that they add the numbers up correctly. Fnatic.
I mean, Avova kind of goes for a big play to clear B main.
Governor trying his best, but Chronicle, we said through the smokes, he's been good. He's done it through the wall now. And Avova and Malsey left to pick up the pieces. What remains? A picture that looks bleak. Bova's in no man's land. Crashies is on the flank as well. He's on his way up and not even needed. Kayak puts Malsey to bed. And Avova, well, the element of surprise, it might be good for 1. It could even get him 2, but that's still only halfway there.
This is like heading into a medieval battle. Well, I'll be there in 2 weeks, guys. There's just hold as long as you can. Well, TP was right in his face, but it turns out if Kayak gets a dimensional drift, he also gets all the info.
Kayak's had a fantastic round here. Obviously, someone there in the pre-round has called, right, we know how Batu's setting up. We know that they're ready for Chronicle to be a little bit further back towards A main. Avova's good for 1.
No, time's going. Keep going with your points.
They're so ready to bait Chronicle there. That's essentially what Kayak's looking to do. I'm surprised Chronicle didn't maybe make noise running away to fake that maybe Batu thinks he's got the space or something like that. But whoever's called that, with the composure needed to do it, to have that idea, to see that tiny little macro thing, at this sort of level in the game, with such high stakes, really, really nicely done, whoever's responsible for that.
I need a drop.
14-13, but... Well, considering
they
didn't have a pause before this round, that would have been
instant A and there's 3 here. Uh-oh.
Okay. Irish telepathy. We won't talk too much about that.
13-14, and that's the thing for Apex. If we go to OT again, they now need a new adaptation to that A-hold that's being figured out.
Massive direct.
Oh boy.
Get there, Kayak. 1 is all.
Damn, fair play. The double duelist absolutely sent it over towards side with a fade eye.
Well, talked about if they get to another OT. Well, the coaches better start thinking about what's going to happen to that defensive hold.
Governor went down, but at least he got the fade eye out beforehand.
2 versus 4 to make this attempt. And we've seen the elbows stack up before. It was Apex with 2 players. I think it was Malsey and Fluorescent in the firing squad last time around. That was enough. This time they've got 4 back there, stacked up and ready to swing.
The defense.
If anything comes of this for Fnatic, it will be a play that's talked about for a long time to come.
Chronicle has a few of those. Yeah. Snakebite in hand could make it awkward, but already dinked. Makes it any worse. They're also denying Boaster any additional space. He's the only one with any HP remaining, and Avova's just sat on the other side with a shorty. The time at this stage is too far gone anyway, and while it is an attack-sided game at this stage, Apex put up against it. But honestly, they're doing a fantastic job. I also feel like Fnatic have just got to the point, and this is the same through history. I think they may have the longest ever game on the split. They're looking to recreate that this year, because, what was it, 18-16 defeat to Vitality? Well, 14-14 here. Got a few more OTs to go.
Close enough. I think the fact that these rounds are just alternating. It's always the attacking side team that's winning. That is a clear nod to just how strong these double duelist comps are on this map. Let's see how direct Fnatic decides to be. Not particularly by the looks of it, but what I do like is they're actually faking this that you mentioned earlier on, Mitch. They're faking the fact that when they've gone A before,
except 2G, all the Ascension teams are pretty good.
They've always been
I think
it's not really achieved what they wanted.
I think we should judge 2G like at the end as well. Once they actually get spikes back, it should be pretty. This should be pretty good.
Yeah, we've seen him. Well, we've seen a player switch over
they
to
get
that
rid of the
side and
op,
catch
all the rifles.
Batu's repositioned to a much more passive hold. I'd like to see as well. If he's still held up close and personal.
2G and yeah, 2G getting better week by week as well.
Having that code very much cracked. The attack side has been where all the success is, but 50 seconds on the clock and no real space taken. Rotate from Apex.
Dude, Chronicle is
now on A.
getting pinched on 2 bullets.
Perfectly by Chronicle, the Prowler from earlier on.
He
giving them
repeats
a bit
it
of
2
false
bullets.
information. They see the Viper, the snake bite go
Okay, he
down.
calls that there's a lot of people fighting over towards A. There might be space in heaven at the moment.
Way up through the ropes, assuming that Apex are still pushed up. Prowler clears all the space. They now know there should be a fight up close. The spams come in and Governor is forced back.
26. It's dude, it's that time again. 20 seconds and we haven't got through any of the chokes to sight.
They will now try to make that move forward. Gravwell to push him out of position. In fact, Molsey's gone down. That's a big kill for
Oh
Alpha.
boy,
Well, again,
how do they keep getting away with this?
Seconds, but as always, the execution from Fnatic is perfect.
Running the time down low again, but it has worked.
It's worked every time.
Okay.
I feel like we can't even really question it at this stage when it goes down to those
it's
last
true.
few
When they're
seconds,
successful this many
it
times,
never seems to go wrong.
Except for that plant on
you can't
Lotus,
really
but
critique
yeah,
them too
other
much
than that,
until it
everything's been working
proper
out,
goes wrong.
And it will again this time. Fnatic 15 to 14. But again, that is your attack side. The problem has come with defending.
Needs to see it punished. Oh, it'll get punished at one point. Maybe not today, but
from Apex, the round was over almost before it began. We'll see what their adaptation is.
Apex have been hitting this A side so much and getting so much success from
how do we get a full nade kill?
To be some sort of
Elbow?
action from one of the two teams. It might not just be that Fnatic are gearing up to fight this, but it might be actually that Apex look like they're positioning to fake this A hit, have the Yori TP back towards B, and be ready to go from there.
But I've had enough.
Trap.
Yeah, I do remember that, Lexi.
3 players here.
It's always been a thing.
They have to know.
Yeah, I think they know that this is a... Oh, maybe not. It seemed like Alpha was holding the angle, but Batu comfortable. Molsey in position. Kayak wants to try and take this firefight, but
okay, good info.
not going to give that advantage away.
Problem is the Euro can just be anywhere. Nade Tether to take middle. They then want to smoke and
they don't have a lot of information
duel
once that
together.
Viper wall goes up.
Maybe a Prowler.
Crashy's holding on tight, but it's leaving gaps. The B side is wide open, and that seems to be where the walkabout is coming with 3 players up in heaven. They can only cast an eye there every so often.
This is nice from Fnatic. Re-clear through middle.
If they decide
Dude,
to
they
go
got
down sewers, this could be
incredible
the
timing.
perfect play. It's only one. It's only
Look at Kayak's timing.
Looking
Oh dear God.
Crashies with the C's.
Oh
That's it.
dear
He's thrown
God.
the C's. He slowed them all down. That could be the perfect piece. Comes up behind.
Oh, the ult as well.
Gives them all the information.
Can kind of call they haven't got the spike as well.
Can hold them in position.
And
can
this
try and
push.
make things awkward as Crashies
For
picks up
God's
one more.
sake.
It's left all
Kayak,
to
man,
Batu.
please stop
Has
those
an ult of his
ults.
own. A chance to
You
try
did win the
and
round,
at
but
least get his way to the side, but there is no one giving him anything. They are sitting back, ready to fight this one together.
She was a beast player though. That push through middle was everything from Fnatic.
But attack side success, burning the midnight oil.
Incredible
here. They've gone
trigger
the
discipline
distance,
from
but
him as well.
16 to 14 seems set in stone. Batu with an ace clutch, if he is, to buy another opportunity for Apex. And they've just heard that shot. They know where he is. A chance to take down one, but missed the
really,
window.
really nice, man.
Boaster
Really nice in the
fires back
4v5.
to
Cool to
seal
push
their
through the
fate.
smoke.
16 to 14. 13, a lengthy endeavor, but in the end, Apex will not see a